Hey guys, EST here, back with another cool video, and this time we're going to experiment with boiling water. I know, terribly exciting, but what people tend to forget is the amount of energy and time it takes to boil water with different methods. And I happen to know from personal experience they're pretty drastically different, but I don't know the exact amount, so that's what we're going to find out today. We've got a high thermal output chafing fuel, low thermal output with long burn time chafing fuel, which both work with this folding stove that you can put it inside of. This is, of course, a brand new one, upgraded model from one you might have already seen on my channel. Then we've got the burner top on some standard 1 gallon propane there. And then, of course, the stove top. So to keep things consistent, I'll be using this extremely lightweight pot, which, boy, I think if you took the handle off, it would be about half an ounce. So in theory, that should take less time to hit the thermal soak or thermal capacity limit, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, we're using the standard unit of measure, 1 bottle of water, which is to the brim probably a little bit over 500 milliliters, but that's what it said on the label. And of course, it's right out of the tap consistent temperature. So let's just try the small burner on my stove first. And this stove is incredibly old. It's electric. It's non-glass top. It won't exactly be fast, but let's time it. All right, I've got the burner on maximum. I already started the timer. Let's see how long this takes. And you'll just have to sit here and watch it with me. Just kidding. Okay, it's getting close. As soon as I see some surface ripples, I'm going to call it. Alright, I think I'll just barely call it there, because my definition that I'm using consistently is significant surface disruption. And, well, actually, if anything, it's right there. So, that would be 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So, yeah, not the fastest. Kind of wish I had a gas stove, but, well, they're really bad for indoor air quality. So let me let this cool back down, and we'll continue the test. So while we're waiting, this is one of the heaviest, thickest pans that I own. It's about 4 times the weight of that other one while being about the same size. So if my theory is correct about the thermal capacity, this is going to take longer. So I thought let's test that out because that's another factor. All right, same amount of water, turning it on, let's time it. Okay, I think we can call it right there. We're starting to get the surface disruption there. Not quite a roiling boil, but, you know, it's seconds away. But you won't believe this. 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That's like 30 seconds faster than the last one. Even if I were to call it right here, you know, with the real good ripples going, that's almost 5 minutes on the dot. So I thought it would be the opposite. I've heard from cooks, and if anybody's in the comment section, feel free to add your take to this. But basically the flatness is what's important. So I know this one's all beat up and dented to crap, as you can see. So that might have something to do with it. I mean, look at that. That's oops, I'm tripping on it. But yeah, I don't think that was making full contact. So flat versus lighter, go with flat. I would almost prefer a thicker one, which is just shocking. Now, which one would I want in my backpack? This one, unless I'm going to use that one as a weapon. All right, we're way up high on this one. It's a little noisier than I thought, but I've only ever used it outdoors. So let's do it. All right, here we go. Now, from my personal experience, I expect this to be a lot faster. Also, I should mention that the flatness of the pan is a lot less of a factor because it's the open air and the flames that are getting to it, not metal conducting to metal. And I think I can call it right there. I'm starting to see serious surface disruption. That was a mere 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Holy cow. I mean, I would have thought like 2 minutes flat, but it just kind of feels like it, I guess. I will say the amount of like wasted heat coming off this is absolutely insane. So now let's move on to chafing fuel, cooking chafers. People just call them sternos, but that's a brand name, obviously. I think I got this one at Sam's Club. I got these from webstaurant.com, among other places. It's Choice brand. This one I don't like because you have to have like a special tool to pry it off, and by special I mean, well, keys or something. You know, it's not that hard. But it's gelled alcohol, so, you know, real simple. And this is diethylene glycol. So, the problem with this one is you sure as heck can't get this cap off, and I'm pretty strong. Oh, I am not kidding when I say I literally cannot get this off without some kind of grip assistance. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a mouse pad. So if they've been sitting for a while, or if they've been stacked on top of each other in pallets, these can get just like welded on. So I would recommend loosening them all once and then putting them back on. Also, if you tip them upside down, you're going to get the fuel pooling. But that wick is non-flammable. I think it's like fiberglass or something, actually. And if you were to spill the fuel, it will not burn on its own. It needs a wick. Now, they're both absolutely clean burning, where they're rated for indoors. It's not like they never throw off carbon monoxide. I did a test with like 4 or 5 of these just in my car for an hour, and they set off that alarm real quick. I had a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector, but that was ridiculous. Generally for indoor cooking, although they're supposed to be warmers to keep your food warm in those big trays, they're pretty safe. So we actually did a segment where we heated my whole house with these, and carbon monoxide detectors, plural, didn't go off. And the air smelled fine. So this is a little over 400 watts of thermal output, and this is just under 300, but it's taller and it's closer to the surface here, which in a past test I found out makes a difference. So let's start with the hotter one first. All right, if I light it up there, you can see how unbelievably blue that is, which means it is burning about as clean as it can possibly get. I'm going to let it run for a little bit before I put it on, and then we'll start the timer. All right, 20 minutes, and I'm not seeing a whole lot. Let's see if we can get a temperature on this. Oh, it's about 165 Fahrenheit, and as you may know, it boils at 212. So this just plain is not going to do it. Somewhere between 20 minutes and never. Oh, and in case you didn't see my past video where we were just reviewing the world's crappiest folding stove, we did get it to boil with half the amount of water. Okay, let me test my theory here. Oh yeah, okay. Most of the heat is lost to this heat sink. Oh, I mean windproofing. Yeah, it's all just going into the steel. It's conducting down the sides, and the thermal capacity of this thing is higher than the pan, so yikes. Let's see if a higher, wider flame will help. All right, I've got it set back up. You can see, actually, you really can't see it because it's so efficiently burning. It's really low light and it's really blue, but I think that heat is going to go more directly into the pan instead of heating up the air and heating up the metal. So let's find out. Well, 10 minutes in, and I have never been so excited in my entire life. Oh, wait, no, the other thing. This is awful. You've got to be kidding me. It's 110 degrees. It's like 68 in here. This is pretty pathetic. Okay, guys, I did some quick math. It is not going to get there within 20 minutes either. So let's move on. All right, 2/3 of the water gone. Let's see what this does. You've got to be kidding me. Wow, this is just not happening. Holy cow. Let me take the temperature. I'm not sure if it's even deep enough to do that. Oh, probably not, but we'll see. Okay, 175 Fahrenheit. It might have gotten to 212 eventually, but that was an additional 7 to 8 minutes. Jeez. Boy, this is just not gonna happen. I mean, guys, this is like half an inch of water. Like, holy cow. I can't believe this. All right, well, I'm going to make some spiced cider here. Heck yeah, 0 calorie, love this stuff. So I will say, until they make one that takes 2, or I don't know, don't buy this. It is awful. This really explains the price. Well, let's talk about the one that I can't test, but I can speak to from experience. Just a straight up campfire, an average size, a couple mid-sized logs, or just, some improvised thing in the woods. If you can, get 2 wet logs or just whatever you want to do, 2 stones or something, to put your pot over that, just between like 2 of them, 3 of them, whatever you want to do, and get a fairly good sized fire if you got like a hanging, thing or whatever. It should be roughly the same as propane. Campfire tends to get to right around half the temperature. Depends how close to the flames you get it, but it's going to be so widespread and all-encompassing that it should heat up the pan quicker just due to sheer wide energy. So I'm thinking you'd probably be able to boil that amount of water in that pan in about 5 minutes. And of course, what would be the fun in it if I didn't add a wild card? Let's see what this does. Oh. Whoops. Take 2. Okay, I think that's about the best we're gonna get. I kind of looked up the thermal output of the average candle and then, found out if it's gonna do better than those chafers, but where's the fun in that? Let's just see what happens. Oh, I should mention, for various reasons, this is a terrible idea. You would never want to leave candles, especially unattended, which I'm not going to do, that close to each other because they can just have like a runaway wax melting and then flare up thing happen. Yeah, not good. Well, it's been 20 minutes and we don't have much going on. One of the candles drowned itself. That's nice. The rest are still going though. Let's take a temperature at least. Oh, about 150 Fahrenheit. That's not going to cut it. So basically, I wanted the worst case scenario possible, which is no cover. Also, I literally don't have a cover for this particular pot. But if I were to cover it, it would help the steam stay in. The steam would kind of, I don't know, warm the water, saturate the air, or something like that. And I probably could have gotten these to boil in, I hate to say like half the time, but significantly less time. This might have actually done it. The other ones might have done it too, but what if you just throw one of these in your backpack and don't have a cover? Which, get a cover if you possibly can. But if you're getting these secondhand like I am at Goodwill for 50 cents, yeah, you're probably not getting a cover. So in an earlier experiment, I did try one of my other pots that had a fitting cover, very tight fitting cover with a little tiny vent, and it actually did get to boiling in, I think it was 18 minutes with my hottest cooking chafer. Still utterly ridiculous compared to propane, but propane, it rusts when it gets wet. It's not very good steel, honestly, for the little 1 gallon cylinders. It's decompressive, it's explosive. I don't like it. It's also pretty heavy. So there's really only one thing left to try. All right, had to be a different size pan, so that's a factor, but same amount of water. Let's see what a couple of these burners can do. I'm just going to fit as many as I think I can. All right, a little bit of a metal shim under there. We're cooking. So kind of unfair to start the timer now, but well, it's gonna be plus or minus a minute. I mean, it's a completely different pan. I just want to see if we can get it to boil at all, and just roughly what kind of time. So I'm noticing something interesting. It's been just under 9 minutes. I guess if you count the setup time, about 9 minutes. The amount of steam coming off of this, because of how flat and high of a surface area it is, it's immense. Now, every time it loses steam, it loses energy. So if I were to have a cover somewhat trapping that in there, it would have made a huge difference. Just absolutely huge. Now, that said, my thermometer barely even goes up this high, but it was upwards of like 190, 200 already. So it's right on the verge of boiling. Honestly, just because of the surface area and the steam, it might never get there. I don't know. And then that corner is kind of boiling by itself because that's being heated by the one in the back. So uneven heating, jank setup. But I will say, these right here, they're not flammable. They store safely. Or they're not independently flammable. They're not explosive. They're not compressed. They burn for 6 hours, and I have an idea. So this isn't the greatest, safest idea I've ever had, but if you have a crappy coil stove like this, you could just, assuming it's off, by the way, and assuming, the power's out, obviously, pull the coil out, then pull the tray out. If you're like mine, it's a disaster. Down there, a lot of flammable stuff, a lot of grease, a lot of, yeah, that's not good, but I bet you could fit about 3 of these in there, and they're tall enough, too. So I was planning on putting the coil back in, but I can tell there's not enough room here. I could probably just like kind of set it on top, or you could just get like a modified, like a little a grill, not like a grill, but a metal grill to put over the top of this. And so assuming I did that, I'd be able to put a pot right on top of this. It would fit perfectly. These aren't going anywhere. It's really not getting hot down into the area that might like flash up, because I mean the flash point of oil is like several hundred degrees, and you can actually pick these up from the bottom while they're burning. Oh, as in without burning yourself. So I would think you just take some standard cookware, set it on, whatever you got. You can put a couple knives across there if you really add to, or some metal skewers, or, whatever you got to do to kind of improvise it, and then just boom, and put a cover on there. You'd be cooking in no time. That absolutely would boil the water, I guarantee. I'm not going to try it for general safety reasons, but I think that's actually a brilliant idea right there. So I would keep these around because, as we found out in a previous video, these can heat your entire house pretty safely with minimal carbon monoxide, if not, none. I mean, look at that flame. It's practically invisible. And they're not the best for cooking. Propane is. If you keep a 4-pack of those little cylinders around, cool, but you can't get any condensation on them, so I put them in my basement with a humidifier. Even then, after 2 years, they're already approaching their expiration date listed on the container. They're really not rated for indoor cooking at all. I can't imagine they have any kind of protections on that little burner on top for carbon monoxide, but they're the fastest, so I would just bring it outside and cook outside. I mean, almost regardless of the temperature, assuming you have proper attire for it. So that's all you need to know about emergency water boiling. Really, ideally, take it outside for safety reasons anyway. These are kind of okay, but not by themselves. Those folding stoves are borderline useless unless you have a cover. And if you can, use propane or use a campfire. So leave a big old thumbs up if you like the ridiculous amount of effort and time I put into this video. Check out the rest of our content, and I'll see you guys next time.